where sports meets that thing called life. Those of you that have been tuning in know that I've been going through a season of not feeling that great, but I'm feeling very good this morning as we have the opportunity to bring you plenty of content here and some wonderful guests that are going to be joining the show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is always my honor and my privilege to be here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And as we are here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, I want to make mention of Cafe Kubal, 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. You can also find them on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius and on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in their drive-through location in North Syracuse. So make sure you head over there today. With so much going on the broadcast this morning, inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have the opportunity of bringing you Bo Edmundson in just a moment here, who's committed to UNLV. You can see the hat, says Lake Travis here from down in Texas. Been supporting him since this hat came over to me, and definitely love telling Bo's story, and he'll be with us in just a second, followed by Syracuse one-on-one conversations with the men's basketball team coming off of their loss to Virginia, and that will be with head coach Jim Boeheim, as well as the backcourt of Justin Taylor, Judah Mintz, and Symir Torrence. Then in the second hour of the broadcast, around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Otis Hill will be joining the broadcast to give his thoughts on the State of Syracuse Basketball, and then we'll get into, as we always do on a Tuesday, rounding out the show with the ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. So you are with us worldwide on Facebook, YouTube, and MixLR, all.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage. And I'm very excited to welcome this gentleman to the broadcast here with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, Mr. Bo Edmundson, 2023 incoming quarterback for college football. Bo, how we doing?
How we doing? Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man, and always happy to have you here. So, it's been a minute since you and I have talked, and I know we were talking off the air a little bit, but you'd gone through your recruitment, committed to Michigan State, went through some stuff. So for those that don't know, bring us through the story of the commitment to Michigan State to where we are right now.
So I was fortunate enough to play my sophomore and junior year on varsity. Started both years. So with all of that comes some scholarships coming my way. Playing in 6A Division I high school football. It's year after year polled to be the best competition of the best competition in high school sports. So being able to compete for 2 years, my sophomore and junior year, that brought me some success. And I think it was last February, so it was coming around just about a year. So committed to them, went through all my visits, loved it, and then before my senior year, I dealt with a little back injury, but it's all good because now I found UNLV and I'm excited for the next step.
So, you go through this process, and when you have that, when you go through an injury, as many people, have, especially in the world of football, and you have that commitment, and they say, hey, we're going to move on. How do you kind of navigate through that and say, okay, you know what, because you're already dealing with the injury, you're coming back, you're getting your body healthy, and now you have to look at, finding a new school. How did you kind of handle that process?
It's obviously tough because it's just a shock. I mean, you've set your mind on going to Michigan State, going in January, kind of getting ready for that weather. I know y'all are used to the weather up there, but in Texas it really doesn't get like that. So I was mentally prepared for going in January, going to see some of the cold weather. And then obviously that gets taken from you. You just got to really take a step back and look at things and look at the positives that you have in your life. Great family, great supporting staff with coaches and teammates. And I never gave up hope. I knew there was going to be somebody coming through and looking for a 23 quarterback. But it didn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. It's tough to talk about sometimes, but I think the more you talk about it, the stronger you get, and the more you can learn from what happened in the past.
And like you said, here with Bo Edmundson, 2023 incoming quarterback for college football, coming to UNLV very soon here, discussing things like you said, going through stuff, and life never really goes the way that you want it to go. I mean, you're a young kid, you're a teenager learning something like that. How soon in life did you learn that things aren't always as planned?
I mean, this is obviously in life you go through things and you're just like, oh no, like this is unexpected. But I would say this is the big thing. I was like, all right, like nobody really cares. I think that's one thing that nobody cares. I think your problems are of your problems, and I totally get that. So you got to really take it as a man. Take it. You got to put it on the chest. You got to keep going, moving forward. Like I said before, learn from it, build from it, and then look for another opportunity coming from that.
And so you look for that other opportunity. UNLV, bring me into how they connected with you.
So their coach was the old he was the old wide receiver coach at Texas. So their offensive coordinator was an old receiver coach at Texas. So he'd been coming to practice for a couple of years now. When he was at Texas, just coming through recruiting. Obviously, I was committed, so he didn't really talk to me much. But you just see every guy there, just because that's what coaches do. They just look. So one night, one of my office coordinator, Coach Mangino, he texted me, and I was just hanging out, normal night. I don't have anywhere to go play football. I'm still in the shadows and everything, just kind of curious about what's going to happen. And he just said, all right, like, he sends me his number. He was like, hey, call this dude. Like, I was like, all right, like, whatever. I didn't ask any questions. I just called him and got to talking. And then I was like, I think he's going to offer me a scholarship. And then he asked me two questions. He just asked me, am I healthy and do I love football? And obviously both those questions. So I wasn't healthy, obviously, but now I'm healthy, back healthy, and love for football still hasn't left. And I was like, yes to yes. Yeah. And he was like, all right, I'm offering you a scholarship. Want you to get on an official visit this weekend. So it was a little quick turnaround to go from, I don't know, not having any interest to the school, or not any interest to the school, but I don't know, just kind of not having any prior knowledge of the school, any information of the coaching staff, just all of the little things that you don't think about.
Yeah.
But I was just so on board to go. I could have committed on the phone. I obviously didn't, and then I got to campus, and then I loved it. The town of Las Vegas is obviously super bright and colorful, but I really thought that there was a good separation between the campus and everything else that's going on in Las Vegas. So I'm excited to really see what Las Vegas is about, and to see what UNLV is about.
And you talked about, they asked you, do you love football and are you healthy? Where are you at right now? How is the body? How is your back? How is everything going?
Yeah, it feels good. So it sucked there for a little bit, just having to, I just see some of the older guys, they're like, oh, my back hurts. Like, well, I'm just complaining. And then, once you really go through it, I'm like, all right, yeah, like, this is not fun, guys. So dealing with that every day, just the constant back pain, just like kind of sitting in chairs and not being comfortable, and kind of just having to wiggle around a little bit. I mean, that's a pain, because you love football, and that's something that you're just like, all right, well, football caused this. Or I guess not football directly, but trying to pursue football kind of caused this. I'm like, all right, it's a step back. Like, I don't know, but then you really reassess, and you're like, all right, like, again, another bump in the road. Take it like a man. Like, let's get healthy. Let's move on, and let's become bigger and stronger from this.
So, I mean, for you to go through all this, mental health is a huge part of this, and mental toughness. How did you stay mentally tough and going through this process, and going through injury, and going through recruitment, and being committed to one place, and then, having to move forward and kind of change direction? amidst all of this. How have you stayed mentally tough?
I think it was just thinking about my teammates and everything else going on in the world or in life, I guess. Just talking with people and talking with people who have also struggled, and a couple Lake Travis quarterbacks reached out to me, just giving their advice, giving their best wishes. And I mean, that's obviously great to hear, but just being in the locker room with the guys, they're cheering me up every day just because they know the person who wants to play the most. Obviously they want me to play because when I'm playing my best, that's when we have the best shot to win. But they knew what was going on, and they just were never every single day that I go in there, just hey Bo, how are you doing? Like just trying to cheer me up, even though I wouldn't try and show it because I'm still the guy who's talking to everybody, who's yelling loud, but obviously they knew that something's not right because I'm not playing out there, and that's what I love to do, and that's what I want to do, and I've been doing it for the past 2 years, and I'm walking into this year, I'm like, all right, let's do it for the next time, and it just gets taken out from you. It's a quick turnaround. So again, you gotta move on with it. You gotta encourage your teammates. You really just gotta take it.
Here with Bo Edmundson, 2023 incoming quarterback for UNLV. Bo, why do you love the game? Because obviously going through adversity and different things that you can't control, if you don't love it, you walk away from it. So why do you love it?
Yeah.
Why have you stayed with it?
I don't think there's anything like sports where I don't think life could have taught me something this big. I feel like a lot of people in just normal day life, everybody gets knocked down. I mean, I've been knocked down. I've been on my butt for 8 months almost. And I feel like by then in normal life, people will be like, all right, like maybe this isn't working. Maybe this isn't going to work. And they just move on with their lives and don't think about it much again. And that's fine. That's what they do. But I don't know. I think there's something with sports that really brings everybody together, brings the team behind everybody. And it's a team game. So you want to be carrying the weight as much as you can, but there's not one person who's going to win the game. It needs to be a whole team effort. And that's really something that's taught me about this injury, taught me about life, and taught me about everything else.
And for you, you look at that quarterback position. What do you love about it? You and I have talked about before, being in this leadership role. Just what does it do for you? Why do you love it? Why do you like to have the pressure? Because, typically they say when it comes to any team, if there's credit, it goes to the quarterback and the head coach. And if the team goes through adversity, the blame goes to the quarterback and to the head coach. So What do you like about that position and being in a place where, there is so much credit, good and bad?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you said, I mean, there's a lot of pressure being the quarterback, but everybody who signs up to be a quarterback knows that. And obviously you don't want to be pressured in any way, but I think being able to handle the pressure and react to the pressure is something that, again, life will not teach you. I don't think there's a lot of 18-year-olds in my shoes who have had the pressure of going out there and playing in front of thousands of people with thousands of people cheering you on and thousands of people hating you, screaming bad things at you, just trying to get everything for you to lose. And I mean, that's football. So the way you deal with that pressure is just going every day. Can't skip a step. You got to be mentally locked in and film, practices. So when you get on those games, the pressure really isn't that big. It's just like, all right, we're going to do this again. It's like a practice rep or something like that. So, but yeah, when the pressure gets there, I mean, that's what we live for.
And Bo, I mean, UNLV, like you said, going out to Vegas, a very interesting situation with, the big city lights, and at the same time having UNLV a little bit away from that. What do you like about the atmosphere? And is it, to your personality, how do you feel like, Vegas fits?
Yeah, so I one thing that I really like about this is I think everybody needs a fresh start. And a fresh start I'm getting because all of their coaching staff was like weeks old when they were 3 weeks new when I got in there. Their head coach just got hired from Arkansas, previously the head coach at Missouri, and Coach Odom. So a fresh start, just every coach on the coaching staff is is a couple weeks in, and they're trying to learn things while I'm learning things on campus. But I really saw something in the offense and what the players are seeing in the coaches and what I saw in the coaches, and I really think we can make something happen. And like you said, it's a big market city. I think we can get a lot of good players. I think we're going to be a competitive team, and I think this new culture and new confidence in the team is going to be huge. And then as far as the city goes of Vegas, it has its themes of the city, and I'm gonna be honest, yeah, they're pretty true. I mean, the first time I went to Vegas was when I committed, I guess 2 weekends ago, and you just look and you're like, holy crap, like this place is huge, so many buildings, the strip is miles long. But one thing, like I said before, is I asked some of the guys, I was like, all right, like how do you deal with the strip life and like just like trying to further your football career as far as you can, trying to get a good education? And they're like, yeah, if you really focus on those things, like you won't really be going down the strip that much. It's all 21 up. And there's just a lot more important things that I want to do than, go to the strip and party. But obviously that's the first assumption made.
Yeah. So, I mean, for you, what keeps your focus? Why are you so locked in?
I think it was the loss of this year. I feel like I'm coming in with a chip on my shoulder. I need to prove people wrong. And I feel like it's not proving people wrong. It's just proving people right. Because I like to prove people right. I like to prove to people who've been believing in me, my coaches, people who mentor me, people who talk to me, people who are like, hey, we're getting through this.
Yeah.
I want to prove those people right. So that's the chip on my shoulder. And then when we go in there, I mean, I lost a whole year of playing. So I'm behind the block already. So getting in there, and really proving myself in the meeting rooms and on the practice field, in school. I mean, we're going to do everything we can.
Bo Edmundson, 2023 incoming quarterback here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora live inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Bo, for someone that's never seen you play before, describe to me what type of quarterback you are.
I would say the biggest thing is confident and decisive. One thing I think I do really good with my game is I know where to go with the football. I think that starts with my offensive coordinator, Coach Mangino. Just, again, the film room. That's the most important place. It slows the game down. You were talking a lot about pressure. Again, the film room slows the game down. It relieves a lot of pressure when you get out in the game and you're seeing the same looks that you're seeing in film. The blitz pickups, you know where to slide the line, put the running back, who the running back has. I mean, just being able to control the offense. Everybody comes up to me and is like, I don't know how the quarterbacks like know where everybody is at. I'm just like, and you don't even think about it because it's just every play you have to know where everybody is, and that's becoming your responsibility, is making sure everybody else is right. So just confident, knowing where everybody is, knowing what everybody's doing. I think that's the biggest thing that I can add to my game is, or that I have in my game is knowing where everybody is, knowing the offense front and back, knowing the run schemes, knowing the pass concepts, knowing the depths of routes, the angle of what you need to come out of your routes. I mean, everything front and back. I think the details, you don't want to get bogged in the details, but you obviously want to give those younger guys a good example of what you need, of where you need to be in order to get to that next level.
You described something that to some people is, probably to a lot of people, is an insane orchestra of, you just said it all in a couple minutes, but how do you make sure that this is here and this is there and that's, I mean, these are, and the thing is, once you know everything, once you know all you need to know about your linemen, your running backs, your tight end, your wide receivers and whatnot, you still have to know the defense, know what they're in, know if they're changing, know if they're shifting and making different moves, keying in on certain things and certain cues. And this is all in motion. Once you understand your guys and their guys, everything is in motion and everything can change in a split second. So you describe it as, oh yeah, you know what? I go out there, I'm the leader. These are the things that I have to do. but it's an extremely difficult thing to do. How much of it do you think is God-given? It's just in you. You don't even think about it. And how much of it is taught? Because being a quarterback is extremely difficult when everything is stationary and the coach says, run this play. And then when you're going up against a team and it's live, everything is, in constant movement. It's kind of like trying to throw a lasso around the ocean sometimes. So How do you do it?
I would honestly say, you could say it's all God-given, but that would be 100% wrong. It does take a lot of time. If anybody can throw the football, anybody can go out there and know what the concepts are, but I think a quarterback has to be a certain level of person. I think he has to be a guy who can go in, rally all the teammates, say, hey, this is what we're doing. Make sure everybody's on the same page. We're going to score right here. Let's get this first down. Let's keep moving the change. And I think that's a certain type of person. So I'd say that on that side, it is God-given, just the fact of being personable and being able to talk to people. But, going out there, even freshman year, I could never imagine going out there and playing in front of thousands of people, starting on varsity. Like it just seemed like a lot to me. I mean, you just go in these meeting rooms with all these older guys and you're just like, oh my goodness, like I feel so small. Like I don't know any of this. But you really get with the best coach. I mean, we have some of the best coaches in the country at Lake Travis, and just being able to work with them every single day, and how much they push and expect out of you, it makes it so much easier the game slows down, you get confidence, you know what to do. They expect my coach expects me to know where everybody else is, what everybody else is doing, and what you said is we got to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we got to know what the defense is doing. So we got to know all that, and we got 4 seconds to snap the ball. From once everybody gets set, we got 4 seconds to snap the ball. So we got 4 seconds to really gather in some information and make our best guess or best judgment of what's happening.
So looking at UNLV as we move forward here, what did they tell you about the situation at quarterback? And, is it an open competition for you to come into? Is this, you're a true freshman, come in here, learn, try to become the number 2 guy right now, move to the number 1? What did they tell you about how they view their quarterback room?
Yeah, so they got a lot of older guys in the quarterback room. When I went on my visit, I had the chance to being with both of them, and great guys. I think both of them have 2 years eligibility left, but I think the one thing that separates us right now is, I go up to them and I'm like, all right, how old are you? And they're like 22. I'm like, geez, like they're 4 years older than me. They just look everybody says in these next 4 years, you're going to look back at your senior year self and you're going to not recognize them. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then you go to these camps and these visits and these games and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, and he was like, and they're just like, yeah, like, trust me, like we looked like you coming out of high school. Like, this is just kind of how your body matures. And I was like, I think that's the biggest thing is just seeing how like mature everybody is, or not like personally mature, but just like physically mature. So yeah, they got a couple years of eligibility left. So I would love to go in there and compete for the starting job, but I think it'd be great to go in there, learn the offense, get physically mature, get mentally confident in the offense and what the coaches are asking from me, and then reassess the future.
Going through this recruitment process, Bo, looking back on it, what did you learn, and what would be your advice to someone going through recruiting right now?
I would say weigh all your options before you make a decision. I would say think about every school, every coach. I think the big thing is think about the longevity of the role that your coach or the coach has in that school. If you're looking at a school, say you're looking at Bama. I mean, I'm using that as an example just because the coaching cycle seems to be ridiculous there. and you really like Coach Bill O'Brien,
Yeah.
and you want to commit to Bill O'Brien, you got to really think of, all right, let's look at the past 5 offense coordinators for Alabama, and they've been here for, I think, every single one of them is maybe less than 3 years. Lane Kiffin may have had 4 years. But I think you think of that. I mean, I'm going into a school. This is going to be my first year here, so their first year is my first year, season-wise. They all just got moved over here. Like if you go to one of those big name schools, I think there's a lot of coaching turnover, and it's hard to stay in one offense, or it's hard to really stay in like one coach's like organization. And I think that's huge for a quarterback to know what the game plan is every week, week in and week out, and to have some sort of idea of what this coach is going to call next play. I think that's the biggest thing. Like after 2 years of playing with a coach, you're sitting on the field and I'm standing on the field. I'm like, all right, like I'm watching the signal right now, but like I gonna be honest, I already know what's coming out.
Yeah.
So, but having not being able to have that relationship or that situation, I think that's a huge thing with recruiting.
Well, and you said something really interesting here is that with the coaching change, pardon me, at UNLV, you have the opportunity to grow with the coaches. You're coming in, they're coming in. How much do you know about your head coach to be Barry Odom and your connection with him? What can you say about Coach Odom?
I mean, we met. I got to meet with him when I was on my visit, and I just already saw how personable a guy he is, how much of a player coach he is. He sat my whole family down in his office, just talked about coming up and how there's no pressure. He just wants for me to come in here and show me what I can do, and how he's a defensive guy, but how he still wants to be with the quarterbacks and like have a relationship with every player. I mean, and that's great coming for a head coach, because a lot of head coaches kind of stay in their own role and don't really venture off and go. I mean, he's a defense coach, like I said. He's going to talk to the quarterbacks about the game plan. I think that's huge, just so again everybody's on the same page. And I think what his work at Arkansas and Missouri speaks for itself. I mean, if you can coach high level ball at SEC program, I mean, I'm excited for what he can do at a head coach.
And your offensive coordinator, also going to be your quarterbacks coach, Brendan Marion. What you can say about Coach Marion, and what you like about the fact that the OC is also going to be working in the quarterback room specifically?
I think that's what you just said is, I mean, that's what I want. I want the person who's calling plays. I mean, it kind of sounds selfish, but I want the person who's calling plays to, I mean, they're giving the play to the quarterback. The offensive coordinator is calling the play and giving it to the quarterback, and then I relay it to everybody else. So I think it's all about relationships. If I can trust that coach, then I know when I get on the field, when it's go time. It's going to be like that. I know we're going to click. And his offense, I mean, he's shown me he was at Pitt with Kenny Pickett and all that he did. His Heisman finalist season, and Jordan Addison was a receiver under him at Pitt when he won the Biletnikoff. I mean, it just speaks for itself. Like I said, Las Vegas, big brand team. We're coming off of, I think, a 5-win season, which isn't the best and most proud season. And I think this new culture, I think what Coach Marion's doing or what he did with Jordan Addison, what he's done at Texas, I think a lot of the players are going to look at that, and they're going to also look at the fact that it's in Las Vegas, for God's sakes, and be like, all right, like, sign me up. So I think, we're getting a lot of transfer portal guys already. I think that's going to be huge for our growth, and then getting some of those high school kids in this rotation and the next class in the 24 class is going to be huge.
Yeah, and seeing this kind of all come together for you, Bo. I spoke with you at the beginning of your recruitment, and now here we are with something tangible. In just a few months, we're going to see you at UNLV. looking back on your story and on this journey to kind of bring it all together, what have you learned in this process and just how you reflect upon these last couple years?
I'd say don't get caught up in any of it, or in anything, don't get caught up in what the media is saying. Don't get caught up in what parents are saying. Don't get caught up in what players are saying. Just go to work every day. And ultimately, that's what proved my success is that my sophomore year. The starting quarterback, he was committed to Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a high level Division I program.
Yeah.
So people are just some people have the mindset of, oh man, like he's going Division I, like I don't have a chance to start this year. Like maybe next year I'll give the effort, and maybe next year I'll go 100%. No, let's start now. Let's keep building. And I mean, it ended up happening where he got hurt, and I got the opportunity to battle for the job, and I ended up winning that job my sophomore year. And I mean, that proves really. I mean that helped me out a lot because I'm going from only having 1 year of film in junior year, missing my senior year, to now I have 2 years of film sophomore, junior year. And yeah, I missed my senior year, which is a complete bummer. But again, don't listen to what people say. Just keep on your track for as long as you can. Stay your path. Do what you do. Do what you know to do. Listen to your coaches because they know they know what they want and they know what's best for you. So that's what I would say.
Why will Bo Edmundson be not only successful personally, but on a team at UNLV and in your conference and potentially in the country?
I'll just say it all starts with confidence. Confidence, being a personable guy. People will uplift or gravitate towards those guys. And winning over a team is huge because if your teammates are sitting out there running routes and they're like, oh, I don't know if this guy can make this throw, then that's not the best confidence that you want to have. You want to have confidence through everybody throughout the board. You want to have confidence in the offensive line that they know where you are. You want to have confidence in the running back that, hey man, like I got you here. Like let's go get this one. Confidence in the receivers. Like if the receivers know, hey man, I could get the ball on this one, they're gonna run a million times faster than what it is if they're like, oh man, like, nah, not on this play. Like I'm not getting the ball on this play. Like if everybody has confidence, then that's what makes the team go.
Confidence is key. Bo Edmundson, 2023, coming in to UNLV. Bo, final note here. What do you want beyond confidence and everything that we've talked about? What do you want UNLV fans to know about you? And what's kind of your final word here after you've committed to UNLV?
Yeah, I'm just excited to get working, excited to learn more about the city, excited to live in the city, and I'm super excited for what it brings. Go Rebs.
That coming from Bo Edmundson, UNLV commit, heading off to UNLV this year, 2023. Sir, we will be in touch, as you know. Pardon me. We'll have plenty more story to tell here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Bo, I want to thank you again for letting me be a part of this journey with you and to really giving me the opportunity to have unfiltered coverage of this entire process for you. So
yes, sir.
I can't thank you and your family enough. I got to shout out Mom because she's always in touch. Awesome woman, Miss Debbie. So, thank you to you and the family, and God bless as always. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to do. I'm hoping big things for you, but as a big brother kind of aspect that I take upon this, I'm just happy you're healthy. I'm happy you found a home, and I'm looking forward to you going out there and doing some great things.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan, for having me again.
Absolutely, man. So I'll talk with you soon, and I appreciate it. Stay safe.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Take care. Coming once again from Bo Edmundson here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Can't thank him enough for being a part of the broadcast here on the show, and always appreciate spending some time with Bo. So great to see him finding his home. Stan coughing on the show. That is because a lot of doctors did not decide to help me, and sometimes their best medicine was to tell me to kind of just go through being sick. And I don't know. I thought you're supposed to treat things, but that's just my opinion. But I am happy to be here with you. I'm happy to be here on the broadcast, fighting through it, because this is what I love to do. So I think it's perfect. Not a great feeling, but the fact that not 100% right now, and talking to Bo, who wasn't 100%, and having to go through everything he went through to get to where he is today, and fought through it, did everything he could to stay on the field, and I'm doing everything I can to stay on the air. So happy to be here with you. Thank you as always. We'll take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. When we spin back around, we will get into my Syracuse one-on-ones, my Q&As with Jim Boeheim, as well as Judah Mintz, Symir Torrence, and Justin Taylor. And this just in, Adrian Autry is going to be joining the show this morning. So very excited to have Adrian Autry, associate head coach with the Syracuse Orange, coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studio. Stay tuned. Plenty coming up. And like I said, Adrian Autry joining the show in just a few minutes. Avicolli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicolli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicolli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. I hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning. Hope everything's going well and you are all staying safe. I know it's snowing once again in central and upstate New York, so please make sure when you're going outside to look down, see your surroundings, be careful, don't trip, be very leery of the slide, right? I had a friend, unfortunately, fall, pardon me, and do some damage to their hand and to their leg. So please just be careful out there and make sure that you are taking your time as you go out there and do what you got to do today. So definitely, and I got to take that advice too, right? Because a lot of the times I'm out there kind of rushing around doing my thing. So make sure that you take the time, give yourself some time, and go out there and do what you need to do. So happy to be here with you. So proud to be here every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, where sports truly meets that thing called life inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, here with you on Facebook.com, MixLR.com, and YouTube.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. So however you're connecting with the show, I thank you so much for being a part of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and being here with me every Monday through Friday, as well as beyond that in our special engagement shows and everything that we get to do. As promised, we're going to have Syracuse one-on-ones, but those are going to be coming. We're going to do these in a flip-flop here because Adrian Autry is going to be joining the show in just a couple minutes, and that's the beauty of live radio and live video is, we have the opportunity to bringing Adrian Autry on this morning, which wasn't previously going to happen as of last night. So we were able to get him here this morning. A lot of constant moving parts and schedules. So happy to get Adrian on the show and looking forward to having Alan Griffin and Jerry McNamara join us in the not too distant future. So looking forward to having Red on the show this morning, the associate head coach of the Syracuse Orange. Syracuse coming off their game yesterday where the team struggled down the stretch once again and committed costly fouls, did not calm down toward the end, did not look as disciplined as some other teams out there, and they paid for it. Another close game for Syracuse, and that's, it's tough when you look at your schedule and you say, okay, the team is 13-10. They're the fifth team in the ACC to have the fourth team, in the ACC the fifth team. So fifth team in the ACC this season out of 15 to have double-digit losses. The other teams, Louisville 2-19, Georgia Tech 8-13, Notre Dame and Boston College 10 and 12. So Syracuse 13 and 10 right now. The best overall record for teams in the ACC overall wise, best record is 18 and 4, and the 17 and 3 records we're seeing. Virginia, who's 6th in the country, is 17 and 3, 9 and 2 in the conference, and Clemson is 10 and 1 in the ACC and 18 and 4 overall, and ranked 20th in the nation as of this morning. So, like I said, Syracuse this season could definitely record-wise be different in a bunch of these games, coming down to the last couple possessions and some decision-making. And ultimately, that could have changed where Syracuse is at right now and given them some of those quadrant wins, which, can get confusing out there. And, is it a quad 1, a quad 2, a quad, and a quad, and a quad, and all the quads. So it used to be RPI, and, things continue to change here. But, you look back on these games, and Syracuse loses to one of the top 6 ranked teams in the country in Virginia last night by 5. Then they lose to North Carolina by 4. You lose to Miami, who was ranked in the top 17 in the country at the time, by 4, and that game being on the road. And then your first game against Virginia, you lose by 7 on the road at Virginia when they were 11th in the nation, and you lose to Pitt by 2. So a lot of these games, you lose to Bryant by 1 early on in the season in non-conference play. A lot of these games could have definitely put Syracuse in a different place right now. I mean, if you look at those closely contested games, then Syracuse arguably has, 5 more wins, has 18, and they're a couple away from 20 at this point. So, it's definitely been a season where it feels like some things have been left on the table, and we're going to talk about that with Adrian Autry this morning, which I'm very, very excited to be able to do. Adrian has been on the show many, many times. We've done a lot of things in the community. We've done, a bunch of special engagement shows and a lot of different pieces together. So I always appreciate having Coach Autry on the show and hanging out with Adrian where sports meets that thing called life. So always great to talk to Red and have him here. Syracuse associate head coach and assistant here to Jim Boeheim for a long time. And, of course, he's also been an alum of the program, so he knows what it's like to go through it. He knows what it's like to be coached by Jim Boeheim and to run the gamut and all that, and to have to go through adversity and different pieces that happen with the game. So, always happy to have Adrian on the broadcast. We'll have him here in just a moment where sports meets that thing called life. So looking forward to doing that with him. But like I said, could have been a very different season for Syracuse at this point, as they have gotten close in a lot of games but haven't been able to finish them out. And, I think it comes down to play calling or lack thereof. I think it comes down to, like I said, discipline, playing together, calming down, understanding the personnel. I mean, there's a lot of things that just seem like fundamental basketball that have gone by the wayside, and it's unfortunate because this very young Syracuse team with a lot of new faces, I think, like I said, could be an 18-win team right now. And you put them from 13 and 10 to 18 and 5, we're living a different world. So, I think definitely Syracuse is hung tough with the North Carolinas, the Miamis, and the Virginias of the world. And unfortunately, when you don't win those games, it becomes Virginia won another game, and there's no conversation about Syracuse. So hopefully things will, improve here. Syracuse has 4 road games and 4 home games to end out the regular season before they get into the ACC tournament. And so they're going to have to do a lot of things here to see where they can go and see how far they can get at this point. So hopefully things will work out in their favor as the Syracuse Orange gets set on what's to come. And as we get set here to have Adrian on the show, we're going to take a quick step aside on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora from inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll be back right after this with plenty coming up from Syracuse Orange basketball.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Cabal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. And happy this morning to be able to have a good friend of many years here on the broadcast, associate head coach and former player for the Syracuse Orange, Adrian Red Autry, is here with us this morning to talk about the state of the Orange. So happy to have Adrian here. Adrian, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Dan. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And I mean, Adrian, first and foremost, I was talking about it before the fast break we just had here on the show, and that's the fact that, I mean, we could be really looking at an 18-5 Syracuse as opposed to a 13-10 at this time. What's been, kind of the things that you've seen coaching-wise that could change or need to change in those games where it's come down to 2 points or 4 points, or in last night's case, 5 points?
I think every game, when you go, especially these string of these last 2 out of 3, the Carolina, the Virginia, and I'm sorry, 4 out of 5, the Miami, those are all games that had a different story to tell. But I think when you sum it all up, we just have to be a little bit better. We got to be better, not a little bit. We have to be better at closing games, getting stops when we need to, and and rebounding the basketball. I think that's the one on the defensive end that is kind of out of those 4 games. 2 of them were that, getting a rebound, securing it, and then last night's game was really about making free throws at the end, cashing in on those opportunities, and we didn't do that, and and that's the error margin is very, very slim, and we just haven't been able to get over the hump in those last couple of close games. And we won some early that we did make those plays, and and that's kind of really what sums up the last set of close games. Just everyone has been different, whether it's been on a defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball. A couple of games we didn't get a shot off, and we got to get a shot off. We didn't make free throws.
Yeah, so I mean, does it come down to this is a young team still learning together? Does it come down to discipline? Does it come down to play calling? I mean, what where I know you said each game is different, but is there any theme that you can address in practice today that has kind of gone throughout these games? You know, is it the youth of it? Is it the discipline of it? You know, what is coming? Is it just decision making down the stretch? I mean, is there anything that you feel like has been similar in each of these?
I mean, I think all those things you just said, they could be a part. That could be a theme. But I think the biggest theme is we have to be better at ending games, closing games. That's the message. We just have to be better. We have to, defend better. You know, we have to, concentrate. Obviously, offense is one of those things that are kind of, well, we got to make better decisions. We got to finish better. We got to try to, make those free throws. And I think that's what it boils down to. Again, all those things you say, that could be a theme, But I think you just can't, I wouldn't say youth now. We're 22 games in, 23 games in, sorry. And so the experience is there. We've been in a lot of close games. So we just got to be better. We're not finishing games, especially we just got to be better.
Yeah, coming here from Adrian Autry this morning on Wake Up Call inside the Cafe Kubal Studios. Adrian, Benny Williams obviously is in your room. He's a guy who's worked hard to get better, worked on his shot, done different things, showed some inside play this season that we hadn't seen last year when he came in as a true freshman. A lot of fans are just kind of sitting here saying, because, Jim said after the game that Benny took a personal day. And, in 19 plus years of broadcasting, I've never heard of a player having a personal day on a game day, especially a starter. So, where are things at, and how are you dealing with that when he is, one of the guys in your room?
Well, I'll tell you this right now. It's personal, so I won't comment on that, and I'll just leave it at that. Coach summed it up, and that's what it is. Something personal, and I kind of just, again, I can't expand on that, and I won't expand on that situation because it's personal.
How hard is it to not have him there, though? I mean, what has he meant to the team? Because you're all about growing a player and seeing them mature and evolve. So, we've seen some evolution of him. So what's it like to not have him in the room?
Again, I think it's more, obviously we're a team and you do things together, and when one of your members are not around, obviously, you notice that, for example, I missed a game, and so, when I came back and seen her, like, hey, coach, how you doing, or whatever, it's really about the person. And so, and that's all you kind of really focus on.
So in that room, without Benny, Chris Bell, Malik Brown, some of these young guys stepping up, what have you seen from them and liked at this point, especially in the case where Malik has had to step into that starting role with Benny out?
I think Malik and Chris, all those guys have had moments, and Malik's been really, really good. Consistent. He's a great rebounder. He can defend defensively. Has quick hands. He's been really good. With the minutes he's provided, he's produced, and that's why his role has increased. Every time he's gotten in the game, he's had his impact. I think Chris obviously has had some big games, some big offensive games, and he's still getting better on the defensive end. But all those guys are talented. I just think they are getting better and learning and improving and working hard. So, you just want to keep that happening and keep moving forward. And, again, we're not far off. So, that's a testament to, these guys are a little young, and, this is new, and these guys are really kind of stepping up and giving us something as opposed to nothing.
You've coached a lot of different teams at Syracuse. You've seen a lot of different mashups. How would you describe this year's unit up to this point?
It's a different group. Each team is different, but I like this group as far as, the youth, and obviously I love the seniors, Joe and and Jesse and Symir, those guys have done a really good job of kind of leading and not forcing it on those other guys. These guys, they go out and they try. Obviously they make some mistakes, and that comes with it. And we just, unfortunately, sometimes they make the mistakes at critical points of the time. But I think they, overall, this group is a talented group, a lot of talent, and they just kind of, they come in and they just got to keep getting better.
And before I let you go, speaking here with Adrian Autry, associate head coach for the Orange, looking at where this team is at right now, you have 4 home games left, 4 road games left in the regular season, then the ACC tournament. What can be done at this point? Like you said, we got to finish. There's a lot of things that have gone into this pot. Are you seeing that turn? I know you said you like this team, you like the youth. Are you seeing a turn of the corner? Have you already seen them turn the corner? Because, obviously at this point, it's you got to take care of business, do what you got to do on the road and at home, and obviously make a push in the ACC tournament. But where is this team right now in your mind? Is that corner already happening, or do we still kind of need to peek around the corner at this point?
That was a lot to unpack right there. But, overall, I just think the team we're battling, we're playing. We've lost some close ones against the best teams in our league. So, you're not far off. On the road, we battled against Miami, one of the best teams, and we had 2 of the top teams in Carolina and Virginia. We battled all the way to the end. So, you're close. You just got to keep pushing. And I think the way you like you do anything, you just got to try to get ready for the next game. And once that is over with, you got to get prepared for the next game. And you don't really try to get too ahead of yourself. You just take it game by game, keep your head down, and go game by game. And then, you finish and you get ready to go to the tournament and do it, and play your best basketball. But I do think, from the beginning of the year to this year, to this point right now, we have gotten better. Obviously the wins, we're close, like you said. We could easily be 18 and 6, easily. But we're not. So, but we're close, and we just got to keep going. If we were losing by 20 and 30, then it would be a whole different feeling. And then losing is losing, but sometimes it's, it kind of, numbers kind of give you measure sometimes on the numbers of how far you are, how close you are. And I think we're right there. I just think we just got to keep going.
In moments like this, as a final note, what keeps you in it and excited about it when you go through adversity like this in all the years that you've coached and before that, the years that you played? What keeps you feeling it, into it, and getting up every morning to get after it?
I'm a competitor, and I know that this is not easy. I know it's hard. And, this is part of the job, trying to figure it out, trying to, keep it steady, trying to get your team consistent. This is, if it was easy, then everybody would be in it, and can do it. It's not. It's a lot of different things that go on throughout your day. But I love, getting up and trying to figure it out. I love it. I love trying to, and when I say I love it, that's the challenge. That's just how I am, how competitive I am and how competitive Coach is. And that's why he's done it so long, trying to figure things out. It's always ups and downs and, trying to fight through. And you got a group here that has shown that they can do it, And so I think that's where, I get my, energy from, is that, I know that this is a part of it, trying to figure it out. And then you got a group of guys that, they've shown that they can do it. We just haven't done it yet.
That come from Adrian Autry, associate head coach, Syracuse Orange. Adrian, I'm happy you're feeling better. Obviously, my best to the family, as always, and safe travels with these couple games coming up and in general. And I look forward to talking with you soon. I appreciate you hopping on for a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you. Take care. Good talking to you, Dan.
You too. Take care. That coming from Adrian Red Autry. Once again, the associate head coach of the Syracuse Orange, joining the show this morning in the moment. That's why you have to watch, and that's why you have to listen live every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. Because if you don't listen live and you don't watch live, you're probably going to miss something. And you don't need to be doing that. So make sure you're always here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we will have Syracuse Orange men's basketball one-on-ones coming to you here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. My one-on-ones with the Syracuse Orange head coach Jim Boeheim, as well as point guard Judah Mintz, fellow point guard Symir Torrence, and guard Justin Taylor, coming off of that loss at home to Virginia. My conversations with the gentlemen come up to you right after this on Wake Up. Truly meets that thing called life from inside of the Cafe Kubal studios.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsicuse, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5, Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, hanging out here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios where sports truly meets that thing called life. Always happy to be here with you. Want to let you know right over my shoulders here, you can see the Cuse pillows, the Cuse Home Sweet Home, and the 315 Syracuse with the new dome there. Also right here, you could see the 315 sign and the Witty Wicks candle that's underneath that. Here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, we are decked out in Witty Wicks wonderfulness, and it is all throughout the studio. There's more pieces here in the studio as well. If you want to support the 315, Syracuse, Camillus, Watertown, Baldwinsville, Central New York, Upstate, if this community means something to you like it does to me, then get yourself out to Witty Wicks. Buy local, support local businesses, local inspired products with the Upstates and the 315s. Get out there. So many people have bought them while supplies last. Head out to Witty Wicks. And if you're out of town, go to wittywicks.com. If you're in town, you can go to 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York. So make sure you do that today and support our awesome friends over at Witty Wicks. And I just want to, before we jump into the interviews here, just thank my loved ones for their support. My family, my friends, my business partners, my wonderful guests, and, obviously my little dog, Lily, my daughter. And, I just want to thank everybody for being here with me, and especially when I've been under the weather. Anybody can be there when things are going well, but the people that show up when things are tough and you're not feeling great and you're, feeling kind of down and out, punched in the gut, when those people are there, then those are your real people. So I just want to thank my people today for loving me up and being there for me. It means a lot to me. It never goes unnoticed, and I appreciate it so very much. So I just want to say thank you this morning before we went anywhere else. With that being said, it is time for me to get into my conversations with the Syracuse Orange, and we're going to start things off with my Q&A with Jim Boeheim last night, coming off the game against Virginia, his thoughts on that game. So we're going to have the opportunity to hear from Jim Boeheim this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, in Syracuse one-on-ones following the Orange being at 13-10 this season. Current record, 13 wins, 10 losses, and here is my conversation with Jim Boeheim to start things off in my Q&As with the Syracuse Orange. Jim, thoughts on Judah coming off of this game?
Yeah, Judah was great. He picked his spots, didn't force it. He had a great first half. He was just picking his spots and getting the lane. He played great.
So, Jim, very positive about Judah in this game. Saying, listen, he picked his spots. He did a great job. Judah, another 20-point game that he was able to put forward in this, but it was a loss. I spoke with Judah after the matchup and got his take on how he thought he did and overall his take on the team. So this is what Judah Mintz had to say here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So once again, appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we have the opportunity to shift gears from Jim Boeheim and head over to Judah Mintz and share his take on the game and everything that he saw here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. The freshman point guard on the squad. Here is Judah Mintz giving his opinion on the matchup here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And once again, appreciate you being here inside of the broadcast on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So always appreciate you being here on Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. So here's my conversation with Judah Mintz. Speaking with Coach today, he said, obviously you played well. I mean, how do you look back at a game like this, yet another game where you get 20 points at least, but the team falls a couple possessions short?
I wish I could have made those 2 free throws to tie the game up, really. And yeah, we were right there as a team. It's really frustrating to keep losing 2-possession, 1-possession games like that, but we're making progress as a team, I would say still. Obviously, you don't want to lose in the process of making progress, but I think it's just a steady progression for us as a whole.
You said the team's making progress. Where is it?
Just all around. Our defense, trusting each other. We followed the game plan. We fed Jesse. It put us in a position to be able to win a game today. But it's really just making plays down the stretch when we play those top teams like that. We're just going to have to make plays down the stretch. And obviously, lately we haven't done that, but I think we have a team to be able to win those type of games. As you can see, we're right there. It's just frustrating to keep losing those.
Coach talked about, obviously, missed free throws, and it's a different game. Yeah. So, that's something that, you practice all the time. But when you go back to that and you look at the fact that the charity stripe is where the game was lost, how do you reflect on something like that?
You can't really do anything about a missed free throw. You can't go back and make it, so you just got to try to make the next one.
And for you, not having a guy out there that started with you, obviously, the majority of the season, and betting, what's that been like? Does that affect the dynamic of the locker room or the court at all for you?
When guys go down with injury or anything, it is next guy has to step up. It's not the first time he hasn't started for us. Malik has played well for us. He's continued to play well, so it's always next guy up mentality for us, and we're all talented enough to play, so it's no drop off when anybody goes out for us. Mentally, we still think we have a chance to win, and we did today.
Leadership wise, for you, being in as many games as you've had up to this point, what are you taking away from your own personal game and your leadership at this point? Do you feel like you've kind of gotten a hold of everything, or where are you at in kind of the maturation process?
I think I'm still learning. Obviously, as a point guard, as a player, as a freshman, I'm still learning, especially down the stretch, just making plays, knowing what read to make, knowing when to slow down. But I think I'm getting better as a player. I think our team's getting better as a whole. So, like I said, we're moving in the right direction, but obviously we want to get wins on the way there.
We're moving in the right direction, but obviously we want to get wins on the way there. Thought that was wonderfully put by Judah Mintz here in our conversation on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Next up in the broadcast, I had the opportunity to speak with Justin Taylor. Justin Taylor, yet another freshman on this team, looking to obviously grow and learn and evolve, and he's done some good things. I think his upside, and I've said this multiple times this season, I think his upside is going to be awesome for Syracuse in the coming years, and I look forward to seeing what he's going to be doing here. So here's my conversation with Justin Taylor on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life, as we continue to cover this Syracuse Orange men's basketball team this season. Well, you played in a little over 30 minutes of the 40. Just what your takeaways are about having games like this where you have more time on the court?
It's good for me, just getting more experience out there, especially as a freshman. It shows the coach also has, a lot of confidence in me. And I just, it's my job to go out there and, make the most of it and help the team win. Obviously, tonight was frustrating. I didn't hit enough shots. There was a lot of stuff out there that we should have done better, and obviously we fought to the end, but it wasn't enough. So,
what does it come down to in those last couple minutes? Is it just discipline? Is it being more calm in those situations? How do you look at it?
I think getting rebounds. I missed one towards the end of the game. Just converting on the stops, making free throws, all type of thing. But obviously we made some mistakes down the stretch with stuff like that. But it's piled up from the start of the game. Just little things that we should have done to win. But
What do you take away when you're in games like this, as close as you've been in a lot of these losses? How does a team build off of something like that when you look at a couple possessions and there's a totally different record?
Yeah, those are frustrating ones. Obviously, with this one, Miami, games like UNC, all those games where it's 2-4 points, whatever it is, those are frustrating ones. But it shows that we're right there. It's just a couple more plays, a couple more stops, whatever rebound, whatever it is. So, just gotta go back and practice, look at what we did, build off of it.
That coming from Justin Taylor here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life, the true freshman guard on the squad. And going to their veteran, and good morning to Alan as well, and good morning, Mom. Appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody that's watching and listening on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. Can't thank you enough for being a part of the show. So with that being said, my final conversation with the current Syracuse team for this week for this game is going to go to Symir Torrence, as I had the opportunity to catch up with Cy, born and raised in Central New York here, and continuing to put on for his city. Always appreciate the opportunities I get to speak with Symir, and having Cy on the show this morning always means a lot to me every time we get to talk with him. So here's my one-on-one conversation with Symir Torrence on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And coming up right after this, Otis Hill is going to be joining the show on Wake Up Call.
Well, just being in yet another close game, coming down to a couple possessions, how does this team move forward knowing that this record could be very different with a lot of these games?
It's going to be hard to move forward, but as a veteran, I just tell them to keep their heads up. It's more to look forward to in the future. It's a different season when it gets to March. We just got to keep our heads on and just keep pushing. Because if we don't, then it's only going to get uglier. But you got to look at the brighter side. We always play our best basketball when it comes to March. But we can't rely on that. We just got to get ready now so they can prepare to that moment.
For you, sometimes we see out there for a bunch of minutes, sometimes it's a couple. You've always handled it as a professional, and your leadership, at least to me, is seen out there, and your poise and your calmness. How have you kind of learned to put that team first, and has that always been something for you where whether it's 2 minutes or 20 minutes, you're going to go out there the same way?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I just want to win. I just do whatever it takes to win, whether that's me playing or not playing. I know I can affect the game in so many different ways, and one of the biggest ways I can affect the game is my voice, being that leader when it most matters. So I just try to do that at the highest level possible, and then I do everything else that I can to the best of my ability.
You told me when you came in that you're a true point guard. You wanted to look for everybody and try to create opportunities. Where do you feel like you're at in creating those opportunities? Do you feel like you've matured to a place where we're seeing your real game, or is there still more to that iceberg, so to speak?
There's definitely still more. I know I can be a better player than what I am, and it's just me playing and watching the game more and talking about the game. As I go on, I just feel myself just getting better. So yeah.
This team, like you said, as a vet, you know that this team will play better in March, like you said, and it's hard to move forward, but you have to find ways to move forward. What positives are you seeing in the team right now?
That we really didn't lose, 2 games by double digits. We can beat any team in this league. We know that. We just gotta stick to the course and just keep going. But number one thing is just letting the pass be the pass and staying focused on the present.
And as far as Judah, seeing how he's come in and what he's done in the backcourt, what are you taking away from his game? And he's had a bunch of games where he scored at least 20, but all around, just what you've seen from him.
He's phenomenal, especially as a freshman, and just being in these games for him is helping him mature, become that true point guard that he is. And he's just getting better as the games go on. I could just see it. He's taking some little details from me, and I'm taking some little details from him. We talk about the game a lot, after the game, before the game, so I can just see it. He's getting better. He's going to be something special down the line.
Coming from Symir Torrence, speaking on what he thinks Judah Mintz can be. He says he's going to be something special down the run here, so we shall see this Syracuse team with 4 home games left and 4 road games left before we saddle up for the ACC tournament. We'll get to see this Syracuse Orange team show what they can be in these next 8 games before they head into the ACC tournament in early March and from there. So with that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Always happy to be here with you inside of ModPodspopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Bo Edmundson started off the show, UNLV commit, friend of mine, and somebody that I followed throughout his entire recruitment. Excited for the 2023 quarterback to get started in college football. You heard from Syracuse's Jim Boeheim, Judah Mintz, Symir Torrence, and Justin Taylor. You also heard live from Associate Head Coach Adrian Autry, who joined the show this morning. And now it's time to jump into my conversation with one of my favorite people to laugh with, and that is Otis Hill. So Otis is joining me here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know him from Cuse in the House. You know him from the 1996 team that got to the championship game. You know him as somebody who cares very much about the Syracuse team and has had a wonderful quote history here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, and I'm excited to have him on the broadcast. Syracuse alum Otis Hill. Otis, how are we doing today?
I'm good, Dan. Good morning. How you feeling?
Right, you know how I'm feeling from the conversation off the air. And I'm going to tell you like this. First person who wasn't a doctor, they told me it was part of the care team, whatever that means. And so she did nothing. The next guy did nothing. And the guy after that asked me what I did for a living. I told him I was a broadcaster. And he asked me, well, what does that entail? And I thought to myself, are you a doctor, or did you just come in while the doctor's in the bathroom and just, are you acting? Are you taking on a role today? You know what I mean? All I can say to you is I do everything in my power to not go to the doctor because I don't trust them, and I don't like the bills and the crazy money and the feeling of people not caring. So I tip, and I've been misdiagnosed a bunch of times. So I never go to the doctor if I don't have to. And then in the few times where I have to go, God's like, hey, here's some stuff for your comedy act. And I'm like, cool. Can I get some medication with that too? So it's been a journey, brother. But all I can tell you is if I've learned anything about healthcare, they don't seem to care that much about your health, which doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, Dan. I've seen the hospitals up at firsthand, and it's tough. It's a tough thing to go through, and I just hope you feel better and just drink a lot of liquids and do the normal stuff they tell you, and hopefully you'll feel better.
Yeah, I was like, I think I should drink some liquids and probably go back on another cruise. I think that's what's going to make me feel better because as soon as I came home from the cruise, I got sick, and I was like, ain't that a thing? So in my head, I was like, did I get a Mexican disease? I don't know if I got a disease in Mexico. But, all I did down there was I pet the dolphin. I don't know if you've ever gotten to do this, Otis, but I did 2 things that I'd never done before on my bucket list. I'm really not afraid of anything. The only thing that concerns me, there's 2 things that concern me in life. Healthcare, as I've learned this past week again, and the women that I date. Those are the 2 things that concern me the most, that are most terrifying. I went parasailing, and I spent a bunch of time in the water with dolphins. I was not afraid at all to be in the water with a creature, and I was not afraid to, be suspended in the air, held on by one rope. So I have to ask you this. Have you done anything daring in your life? Have you parasailed? Have you swam with dolphins? I know you love horses. So are you afraid of anything? And have you done anything like what I just described?
Oh, Lord. Let's see. I've done parasailing before. I'm terrified of spiders. Those who know me that are very close to me know I can't stand the arachnids. You can keep them.
All right.
But honestly, I gotta say, women are probably the most scariest thing in the world. Because when my wife gets upset, it's time to duck and hide. So I would have to say, women are probably the most scariest things in the world because not only are they powerful, but they're smart too. So they can get you all different type of ways.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I go back into my history as a kid, and when they asked me when I was little, like, what are you afraid of? I'm like, aliens. Ghosts. If they ask me now at 37 years old, what are you most concerned about your health with? Women. And you know, I mean, just it's scary. It's scary out there. There's some good ones out there, but you know, I said if I was in an obstacle course and you took different things that women had done to me in my past, I would have to get out of someone strangling me, dodge knives being thrown at me, and then do a staring contest with a woman that could stare at a wall like no other. So to me, so when I see people at the Dome, you know, doing like the basketball thing, sitting in the bed or trying to hit a free throw, I'm like, y'all got a nice obstacle course. Because the obstacle course of my life was like some Quentin Tarantino, Neo in the Matrix, trying to defeat Thanos. I mean, a lot of girls I dated, I was trying to keep Thanos from getting that last Infinity Stone. You know what I mean? And I got to tell you, bro, like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I got engaged before, and the woman kept the engagement ring and left. And to this day, she still got that ring, and I'm like, yo, I need my Infinity Stone back. Like, I can't put the case together right now, but, yeah. Let me ask you this question. What would you do if you got engaged and somebody kept the ring and said, I deserve this ring. I hope you have a good day? I'm putting you on the spot, man. I got to know.
You know what, Dan? Now that I'm a lot older and a lot wiser, keep the ring. It's not worth the headache. Be with the one you love. Let that one go. Let her have it. Let her do what she needs to do with it. Just the peace of mind of being away from that person is gratifying enough.
Bro, I'm with you because people, you know, I have people that ask me and it pisses me off. They're like, oh, did you get the ring back yet? Oh, what'd you do with the ring? And I was like, dude, you know, this person drove me nuts. I don't care about it. And I said, I was like, God is good. I will make the money back tenfold. I made the money back on that ring like nothing, you know, and it's like, and I'm happy and I'm proud and it's good. You know, the thing that I find interesting, though, that I want to know is, like, does she wear the ring and tell people we're still engaged, like something really crazy? Or does she wear it around her neck like a trophy? Or, you know what I mean? It's like, what do you even do with the ring when you have it still? Because, I mean, like, people ask me when I was married, they're like, oh, what did you do with your wedding ring? I was like, I lost it. And to be completely honest with you, Otis, it's still lost in my house. I don't know where it is. So, I mean, and it was a really nice ring. It looked like a championship ring. It was funny because people were like, why you got orange diamonds in there? What's the significance to your wife? I was like, there is none. I'm from Syracuse. And they're like, oh, well, did you meet her in Syracuse? I'm like, sure, we'll go with that. But, you know, I mean, I'm like you, though. You know, it's like the peace of mind is better than anything. What I've learned in life is if you can get out, however you can get out, just get out safely, peacefully, and, you know, do what you got to do to have peace of mind, I think is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
So that brings me to the Syracuse season. We're in it. How do they get out peacefully here? They're 13-10. This team could easily have been 18-5. They played close to Virginia twice. They played close to North Carolina. They played close to Miami. They played close to Pitt. They played close to Bryant out of conference. What are you seeing?
You know, it's funny. I've now that I've gotten a lot older, I watch basketball way more in a more in a different mindset. It's more focused. It's more disciplined. And I watch them, and we really have some good pieces. We really do. Judah is amazing. I really do. I think he's got a tremendous upside. I think sky's the limits for him. But I also think there's a couple of guys in there. If we can get one more piece, we need that glue guy. We need like a Tremont, like a Kenyon Martin, somebody, a tough guy who's not going to be somewhat of an enforcer, but it's going to rally the team.
Yeah.
I watch them play, and I just don't see that one nut that's getting everybody together and screaming and yelling and diving on the floor. We don't have that one piece, and I think if we get it, we'd be a tough team.
So you're talking about that, like, Christoph Anjanat, that Marek Dolezaj, that Elijah Hughes, the guy that's like Swiss Army knife in a lot of different cases. So, I mean, well, you're a former big man. Jesse Edwards, he's 6'11". In my opinion, he's the best inside guy that Syracuse has had in a decade, without question. What is your take on Jesse? Because Jesse, I'm going to tell you what I think, okay? So, actually, you know what? I'm not going to load the question. I'll say it after. What's your take on Jesse? I don't want to affect your answer at all here. So what's your take on Jesse Edwards? Big man to big man.
I like him. He's long. He's got a good temperament for the game. I think he's skilled. I think he still could work on offense a little bit. My only issue with him, he need a little mean streak in him. You know, I watch him play and he seems like a great young man. He really does. I don't see any negative things towards him, except that I believe he's a little too nice.
Okay.
And when you're down in the post in there banging, when guys know you're nice, they'll play up on you. When guys know you're a little mean and throw you that elbow or going to do something a little crazy and hit you, they tend to give you a little space so you can make your moves. If you watch guys when they play defense on them, they tend to crowd him.
Yeah.
And, you know, the old school way of the Big East was, okay, I'm going to put my elbows out. And if you run into these elbows, well, that's on you. But, you know, I just really would like to see him get a little bit meaner.
I like that. Otis Hill, Syracuse Orange, men's basketball alum here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. I love that. Great assessment, in my opinion, of Jesse, that you'd like to see him get a little mean. Because yesterday, when he caused that offensive foul, by the way, I saw that coming because Syracuse down the stretch in close games this season seems to love to commit offensive fouls, just to be a little erratic and not disciplined at the end of the game. And it's frustrating. Jesse was double teamed on the baseline. A third guy was shifting over to him. And you talk about guys crowding him. These guys are smaller than him. They're like little ants to an elephant. And they're crowding him. They're down on him like half his size, coming at him. And they're on the baseline. And you can see him kind of be handling the ball like a point guard, getting low. And I'm sitting here like, man, stand straight up, back him down, use your size. He went low and kind of came at him like a point guard and got down on his level. And I'm like, what is happening? And I saw that charge coming because he's a big man. You're 6'11", and you're going to try and lean down and go forward like a bull instead of standing straight up like a giraffe and go to the basket. Now, if he was straight up, then he has a chance of getting that foul called. But as soon as he kind of got down like a turtle and eye to eye with the guy, I'm like, oh, he's going to bowl this guy over. Because big men, especially in today's game, they don't get a lot of foul calls, but they get a lot of fouls called on them. And I wish Jesse would start taking the ball. I mean, he did it in the game, but he doesn't do it as consistently. I'd love for him to have taken that pass inside, backed his guy down, spun around, and went off the backboard like he did earlier in the game.
Absolutely, because it was funny when I saw him get the ball. I said, okay, maybe he's gonna jab step towards the baseline, take a dribble, spin dribble, go back to the middle and shoot a little jump hook. You can't stop that with him. And when he drove, I said, no. And as soon as I said it, they called the charge on Virginia. I mean, it's just like you said. If you look at the games we've lost, North Carolina, Virginia, we've been right there with these guys. Just like you said, we could have 18 wins. We could easily have 18 wins. But because we didn't do the things we needed to do to win those games, and we don't have that glue guy, those games slipped away from us. And I think Coach has really done, I think all the coaches in Syracuse have done a phenomenal job this year. You know, there's always room for improvement, but I really watch Coach and I watch how he's done, and he's changed a little bit over the years, and I think he's done some good things with this team.
Otis, you just commended Jim Boeheim, said he did good things with this team. He's changed over time. The Syracuse fan base for 152 years has wanted Jim Boeheim to get fired, which is weird because he's only coached for 47. But for 152 years, I feel like I've been dealing with this. This is the question I get every day. I got it this morning. I heard it last night. Like, every game, without fail, most of the time, for many, many years now. When is Jim going to retire? When is Jim going to leave? The game is past Jim. Why is Jim still coaching? I can't believe Jim's still here. Why won't they get rid of Jim? You're one of his former players. What is your assessment of him as a coach right now? And what are your thoughts? Because this fan base constantly loves to talk about the future of Jim Boeheim.
Oh, man, this is such a tough question for me. This question is so tough for me because, one, like you said, he was my coach, and, you know, I love Bay. A lot of people say I could have went to other schools and had this and that. Well, the fact is I'm an Orangeman, and I played for the Orange, and that's it. I think the fans want to see something new because Bay has been there for such a long time. If you really look at it, like, honestly, basketball-wise, he's the only coach we've ever really had when you're looking through the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and now the 2000s. So fans, you know, they get a little complacent and they want something new. And I understand it, but Coach Boeheim still can coach. I think people don't realize how much of a student Boeheim watching games for the next game we had. Yeah. So I want people to understand that Boeheim is very much so a student. And I know a lot of people hate the zone, but the zone helps when you don't have the athleticism or the amount of. I'm giving Coach Boeheim a thumbs up. He'll retire when he wants to.
How do you assess it though? I mean, like, I'm sure people ask you all the time, and, you know, people ask me and whatnot. Like, how do you respond to people saying to you, "Come on, Otis, 47 years, the game's past him. It's time to go. They need something new. The zone doesn't work." I mean, obviously you get asked this question, so how do you respond?
Man, it's tough, man, because the player in me is you know, watching these games and keeping up with the game has evolved. It definitely has evolved. And I think people want to see a new style. They're tired of the zone. Well, let's go back and look. The zone has had some pretty good success in Syracuse.
Yeah.
But it's always a double-edged sword because, yeah, we've had success, but people feel like we could have been a lot better. So to me, it's just be grateful that the man did what he did. He was a good man. He's a good man, and he's a great coach. And when he goes, then we'll get the coach that we want, or the coach that people think we need. But people are going to appreciate Boeheim when he leaves. I think the biggest thing is you don't really appreciate someone until they're gone. And when Coach Boeheim leaves,
yeah,
and Syracuse is in a really, really, really bad down years,
yeah,
people are going to regret it and say, "Oh God, we miss Jimmy."
Do I think that there's a lack of offensive play calling? Yes. Am I confused by something sometimes? Yes. But at the end of the day, I am in full agreement that, you know, whoever the next guy is, when they come in and they lose and they're like 1-8 to start the season, I think you're going to hear that, "Oh my God, where's Jim Boeheim?" It was similar with Eric Dungy and Trevor Cooney. You know, Eric Dungy did all this stuff, and I told people, hey, before he finishes up his football career at Syracuse, you better appreciate him because I guarantee you're going to miss him. And, of course, they had their season. People didn't all appreciate him. Some did, some didn't. And then the next year, oh, my God, Dan, you were right. I wish he had eligibility, blah, blah, blah. And Trevor Cooney, oh, why don't we have a guy like Cooney? Remember how he hit those shots? So, it's just funny to me how, people want to get rid of, but they're going to, I know no matter what, people are going to miss Jim Boeheim. And, but the 2-3 zone, like you said, you hated the zone. The 2-3 zone to me, I grew up a student of the game, played basketball most of my life. I played the 3-2, 2-3, man-to-man, 1-3-1, box-and-1. Played a million different types of defenses. And the 2-3 zone, as it was taught to me, is set up to play against teams and give yourself extra help and assistance down low because those teams are good inside. A 3-2 is set up for teams that are good at three-point shooting to give you an extra up top. So 2-3, by definition of what it is never meant to stop teams that are good shooting teams on the perimeter. It's actually meant to do the opposite. So where I get confused and I start to scratch my head is when, every year, pretty much, you see Syracuse. It's like Virginia comes in a couple years ago to the Dome. Their, percentage beyond the arc is, 43% coming in the game. And up against Syracuse, they're 70%. You see yesterday, their rebounding percentage went up. The zone seemingly makes teams look like they're better rebounding teams and better three-point shooting teams. So I ask you this question, Otis. If a 2-3 zone was never meant to stop teams that shoot on the perimeter well, and Syracuse loses consistently to teams that shoot on the perimeter well, including teams like Colgate, what is happening when the actual system of a 2-3 zone is never been set up to stop teams on the perimeter, and consistently from year to year, you see a team that might be a horrible three-point shooting team, and it's again, I think there was one year, 3 teams had record numbers against Syracuse against their zone shooting threes. So, this isn't rocket science. It's not set up to defend the three, and consistently it makes teams look a lot better than they are against other teams, and it's the shooter's dream. You play a 2-3 zone against me growing up, I'd sit out there all day, especially if you're not going to run that much. So how do you assess that? Playing a defense that doesn't have what it takes systematically to stop the three, and it almost never stops the three, and yet here we are continuing to try and play the defense, which I will never understand, because if you go back and you watch any of these games, teams hitting threes. Last night, Virginia, the guy missed it. He had a good look at it. He missed it. I go, he'll take another one. He took another one like 2 possessions later from the same spot and drained it, and there was nobody there to do anything. So I know it's a long kind of starter to the question, but I'd love to get your thoughts, because as a basketball mind, I don't get it.
Right. It's so... The problem is with the zone is, in my opinion, it puts you out of position.
Yeah.
Now, as a big man, if I got to run out, let's say they have 4 shooters on the perimeter. Now, I'm in the post. I got to run out and guard the guy on the wing, or the stretch 4 who's shooting the 3. Now, I got to go out and contest that shot. Who's in the middle of the paint?
Right.
I really believe that the zone can sometimes, I think what the zone really is to do is to force certain teams that aren't great shooters to shoot, and then we're all packed inside the rebound. But a lot of times, with the way these guys are being so athletic and the way everyone is shooting the 3 ball now, I feel like the zone just doesn't do what it's supposed to do anymore. And I feel like the zone sometimes gets a little outdated, because you have so many good shooters now. These kids are going out shooting 1,000 shots a day, and they're making them now. So now it's like, now you got to pull out of that zone and match up man-to-man, but a lot of times you may not have the personnel to play the man-to-man defense, so you're kind of stuck in that 2-3 zone situation. But, yeah, I really believe, in my opinion, Coach has done a great job with it, but in my opinion, I feel like the zone has had its time. Now, you can play it, but not all game, because it slows you down, like you said. It puts you out of position. Guys get long rebounds. Guys get rebounds inside because guys are out of place. But, Coach has been going it for years, and it's been working for him. So I think he's going to stick with it till the day he dies.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, well, most of the time I can get 20 wins off of it. Okay, but, I remember when he was talking about the zone, and I think it's when Tyler Ennis was playing, and he said something like, hey, listen, 3 to 4 times a year we're going to get beat because someone's just going to shoot well. And the first question I had on my mind was, okay, well, what a tournament game, and there's no game after it. Like, are you okay saying, they just shot well? Vermont just shot well, right? I mean, is that, you want to say that in the tournament? So, yes, he has a championship, and I respect the heck out of Jim Boeheim, and I hope that he would know that after 10 years of talking with him. I look at it from the sense of when he says, I got all these wins, I say, okay, but you have one championship. And if you had ad-libbed and been open-minded, I think Syracuse would have had more than one championship. And so that's where I kind of sit back and look at this and say, yeah, the zone has worked enough, but, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them. So I feel like Syracuse would have hoisted more than one trophy if Syracuse had done other things. By the way, when he does go to the full court press, do you realize how many times it works and then he just stops? It's like, it worked 3 times in a row. Let's never do it again for the rest of the game. And I've never
doing that for years, Dan. We did. I remember my biggest thing was, okay, I'm gonna get a 2-on-1. So if I take this charge, it'll be a turnover. So I definitely understand what you're saying.
And I look at him like, okay, it worked on the first possession, worked on the second possession, and third, and then it's like, but he'll say like, he said in the past, my guys can't run with it, they can't do this, and I'm sitting here like, if you're a Division I basketball player, endurance should not be an issue, stamina should not be an issue, strength should not be an issue. Like, if you're a D1 player, then you should be able to run all game if you have to. And so, we talk about the rebounding in the 2-3 zone. How many times have you seen this season that the ball comes off the rim or off the backboard, it falls into a dead spot, Syracuse goes to put their hands on it, and somebody rips it right from them? It seems like the athleticism, there's, like you said, there's no glue, but I also don't think there's no like meat, right? Like you were that like bull in a china shop. Like, you were that guy where, like, if somebody tried to get a rebound against Otis Hill, they're going to get punched in the mouth. Like, that's how I looked at it. It's like, you can try and get a rebound from Otis, but you're going to get sweat on you, blood on you. You're going to have somebody staring you down, looking through your soul. Like, to me, it wasn't an easy thing to do. Now when the ball goes off the backboard, I don't feel like there's any Syracuse guy that's clogging up that middle like, I'm going to kill you if you come in here. And I feel like that's, not only does the zone leave all these dead spaces, but within those dead spaces, how many times has Syracuse fought for a loose ball that they haven't got this season? So I feel like the dog mentality, and I think the grit, and just, it looks like they're just being out physiqued, which is not something you like to see.
Right. You know what, Dan? And I think this is a problem all the way around. I watched the Brooklyn Nets a lot in the beginning of the season. I'm a New York, I'm a Knicks fan, always have been. But I started watching the Brooklyn Nets a little bit because of Jacques Vaughn.
Yeah.
I've run across him a few times when he was coaching early in his career. I've seen him a few times in the airport and stuff like that, and I've always had a high respect for him. One thing that he does, and I love it, he took a part of the old school and applied it to this new era of basketball. He said, how many of you guys have boxed out in your NBA career? Now, this is when he took over.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys looked around the room, and I think someone told me it was like 2 or 3 guys. He said, well, what we're going to start doing is boxing out. He was like, we're fighting for rebounds when we can clearly put a body on a guy, get the ball, and push the break. He said, watch how easy it is. So now they keep a stat. And I laughed because a couple of games ago, Kyrie was doing an interview, and he walked over to the statistician. He said, how many box outs did I have? Yeah. And I thought it was one of the most amazing things. And when you're playing man-to-man and this new era basketball, the little details guys forget. Like, boxing out can get you 5 to 6 more rebounds. And in this new era, everybody's trying to out-jump everybody. And believe me, we got some athletic young men and some athletic kids out there playing. But you got to do the little intangible things and box it out. I was 6'8", playing against 7-foot centers who were guaranteed first round. I had no choice but to box out. Yeah. So I think the zone, in the zone, I think all as well, sometimes you forget to box out because you're worried about this guy sliding into the short corner. You're worried about getting a long rebound. And sometimes you just forget to put a body on the guy and go for the ball. So it's a lot of things with this new era of basketball. And I somewhat agree that the zone is going to be, I think it's going to be obsolete soon. I don't know about right now because Coach is still winning some games, and I played it, but I really feel like down the line, I don't know if the zone is going to last the test of time of basketball.
When Colgate has beaten you 2 years in a row, I just find it hard to, it's not a fluke anymore. Oh, Vermont got us. Oh, Hawaii got us. I don't feel like it's that anymore. I think coaches have now learned, Bryant. I mean, you name a time in your history at Syracuse with the teams you had, with Marius Giannoulis, J.B. Reef-Snyder, you, John Wallace, Lazar Sims, so on and so forth. You name the Bryants and the Colgates and the Cornells and the Vermonts and the Hawaiis that y'all lost to in non-conference play. I mean, Syracuse used to have that buffer, right? They play their first 10 games at 15 games at home. They didn't, get knocked for it. They didn't leave the state. They didn't leave Syracuse until December. And you look at all these home games and the Cornells and the Colgates and all these teams they played up against. Those games, the Canisius, they played those games to be wins, consistent wins. Now those teams are beating you. They're outsmarting you. They're outplaying you. They're outgaming you. Do you have any ones that you can go back to, Otis, and be like, yeah, we lost to one of those teams that we normally beat by 50? Because that's what's happening now. I mean, did you have teams you lost to like that?
Not really. It's crazy because when I played, we'd come close. And even when we came close, Coach was not having it. I can remember, who was it? Donald Foyle. Donald Foyle was a big-time recruit, ended up going to Colgate. We all know him from upstate. And Coach was like, I never forget, Coach came to me, and he kind of hit me in the chest and said, hey, you better play today. Don't let this kid outshine you. You're my guy. He was just giving me a lot of praise. But basically what I got from that is we better not lose to this team or we're going to be running. And back then it was kind of like, the smaller teams have nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose against us. And for us, we got to play the right game. We got to play the right way. We got to put them out and put them out early. But now with the level of talent that you see these kids training every day, I watched a kid, one of the kids from Colgate train with one of my guys from the city. Like, this kid went down to the city and stayed for like a week and was working on drills. So the talent pool is getting better. It's not like all the great kids are going to Syracuse and Texas. the talent pool in general now, with all these individual workouts, these guys are getting better, and the small schools are really contending with the big schools. I feel like there's no more, it's not about giant killers, and it's not about the big conferences. I feel like it's about the kids now. These kids are really putting in work, and they're putting the time in, and they're showing some skill that, I mean, like a total team skill. Like, I'm seeing big guys shoot threes. I'm seeing guards post up. I mean, it's crazy how talented these kids are becoming.
Yeah, and I mean, it does. I mean, it seems like the zone has. I mean, if you want to go into it for part of it, but here's the thing that I found interesting this year. Speaking here with Otis Hill, Syracuse Orange men's basketball alum on Wake Up Call, inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Proud to be with you worldwide, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, and all around the world on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and as well as on our live feeds, Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT. Otis, this year going into the season, Jim Boeheim said he was going to do man-to-man, and I thought that was a sign of the apocalypse. And, like, I thought, I mean, it's kind of like when a woman comes up to me now and she's like, hey, I really like your look. You want to hang out? I'm like, what do you want? Like, what do you need? Like, you know what I mean? I told my buddy that last night at the game. I was sitting with Isaac and we were talking. I said, if a girl comes up to me now, I'm like, what's the angle? What do you like? What do you want? What do you? Oh, you have really nice. What? Come on now. What is it? So, but so when Jim Boeheim said we're gonna play man to man, I was like, this is a sign of the apocalypse. Jesus is coming. All right, I got to prepare. That's fine. And I thought it was like one of the 10 signs of the apocalypse. And so here we go. We're gonna play man to man. And I was always like leery about it. I'm like, I don't know if I believe it until I see it. And here we are, at this point, 20 plus games in, and we really haven't seen any man to man. So I think it was like a smoke and mirrors thing. Like, hey, I'm gonna screw with the fans because they keep telling me they don't want to do the zone anymore. So I'm gonna make them think we're playing man to man, and then I'm gonna hit them with a okey doke and be like, nah, we're not doing it. So what are your thoughts on that? At the beginning of the season, he's like, we're going to play man-to-man. I talked to the players, especially the new guys. They're like, we're going to play man-to-man. We're excited to play man-to-man. We love man-to-man. And then here we are in the 47th season, and it's like, pretty much all zone. So looking back on Jim saying we're going to play both, knowing your coach, was this just kind of his, like, long, drawn-out gotcha? I mean, what do you think it was?
I don't know about the long drawn out gotcha, but I can remember there was a time, I want to say my sophomore year, and I'm pretty sure we practiced man to man like the whole preseason. I'm pretty sure we played a lot of man to man, and we played very little zone. And I think what happens is when you really get to know your personnel, there are certain things you expect.
Yeah.
And with a man-to-man, you got to have at least 10 guys or 9 guys that can go, that are ready to play. And I think what happens a lot with coaches, he has a very short window of trust. Like, he trusted me and JB Reefsnyder to play well together.
Yeah.
He trusts his teams to be able to know the zone and do the zone. And I think the zone was just kind of, it got comfortable for him because, like you said, in the past, it worked so well at such key times. I think he started to rely on it, and he just believes in it. And I think when he tries the zone and he tries man-to-man and he sees something go wrong, it's like, well, I got to go back to my safe haven. I got to go back to the zone. So I think it's all about trust, and I think Coach might not have a lot of trust for the players that he's had to play that zone.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I don't know. I didn't believe it when I heard it, and obviously I feel like I was right. So, like, I mean, we're not getting man-to-man, but, it's not going to happen. But, I mean, looking at the season and looking at it so far, I mean, how do you assess this, too? So, it's been Mum on the Hill. I just had Adrian Autry on the show, And Adrian's a good friend, you know, he's been on the show for a while. We talk on and off the air, and I love, you know, my bond with Adrian. And I asked him about Benny Williams, and he said, hey, listen, you know, it's a personal matter. Jim said something about it. I'm not going to address it because it's personal, so I'm not going to go any deeper into it because it's a personal matter. And, you know, okay. But I've never heard my entire life of watching sports, covering sports. I've been a broadcaster for over 19 years. Never have I ever heard, hey, this guy wasn't available today because he took a personal day on a game day. So, you know, what are your thoughts on the Benny Williams conundrum that he took a personal day as a starter on a team that's playing Virginia in the Dome, and that was a day where he had some personal stuff going on, and he's not there? I mean, nobody knows what's going on but Benny, but looking at it, Otis, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? I've never in my life heard somebody take a personal day on a game day, let alone somebody just take a personal day. I mean, Kyrie Irving takes a lot of personal days, and that's because I think Kyrie, you know, has to, I don't know, he's a different bird. But in the case of Benny Williams, it's like this is your starting power forward, and now people are kind of wondering where he's at. Jim said he's going to be back on the team on Wednesday. He'll be back with the team, but nobody's really saying anything right now.
Well, I want people to realize something, and I got a big flack from this on Facebook. I don't know what's going on with Benny. I haven't talked to anybody on the team, the coaching staff, or anything. But I do know this. Players are human, and sometimes we have certain situations in our lives that can't be avoided. You know, I can remember myself walking home, leaving in the middle of a game because I was dealing with so much mental anguish from my dad passing that I just was so mad, and I figured I need to leave. So I don't know what personal situation he had, but I'm pretty sure it's probably something serious for him to miss such a big game. Because at the end of the day, this kid's a competitor. He's a Division I athlete. He's a good kid. Haven't heard any really bad things about him at all. And I want people to understand that I don't think he just left because he wasn't happy with the shoes or something trivial like that. I'm pretty sure most likely it was something as, you know, family situation or something really personal that if he decides to tell, he'll tell. But it's a different era, you know. And we also got to realize it's a different era. You know, NBA guys are taking personal days. I've started to notice college guys taking personal days.
Yeah.
You know, it really is a different era of basketball, different era of people. It's just strange to me, but I really hope, you know, he's doing okay, and I hope everything's all right with his family. And I wish him the best, and I wish him well for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But I just want people to realize, don't think that this kid was just taken off because he was having a bad day. I'm pretty sure it was something pretty egregious or something really bad happened, and he had to take care of business. Because let's also be honest,
yeah,
some of these guys are the men of their houses.
Yeah.
You know, they're in college, but they're still the men of the homes, and they may have to go home and take care of business, so to speak. So that's really all I can say about that situation.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and I know, I mean, I remember I worked for a company, I'll leave unnamed, and my grandmother had passed away, and I hadn't really written anything. And I mean, listen, when I was writing all day, all the time, pulled off on the side of the road, writing code on my phone on that little screen. My grandmother passed away, and for like a month, I just couldn't, like, you know, I was having trouble just kind of like sitting down and writing. And I remember they called me up and they're like, hey, not nothing, but when are you going to start writing? The boss is a little bit concerned. And I'm thinking, number one, you're the guy who had the job before I had the job. So why are you calling me? And if the boss has an issue, tell him to call me. And all I could think to say is I was like, dude, my grandmother died. And it was like, yeah, but wasn't that like 3 or 4 weeks ago? And I'm like, I'm not having this conversation. Like, you know, oh, your grandmother died 3 or 4 weeks ago, so you should be over it by now. And, you know, so I mean, obviously I've spent a lot of time with Benny, and we've been candid in our conversation, because I thought last year, I don't even know what it was, so early on in the season, a few games, and of course the media was making something out of nothing because people have to get clicks on their website, and I'm so happy that I'm not like that. And so, there was a story out there like, oh, Benny's going to transfer, Benny, he's going to leave, he doesn't like it here, da-da-da. So going into the season this year, that's the first thing Benny and I talked about. I said, dude, can we clear the air about something? And we were standing in the Mello Center, and I was talking to him. I said, were you leaving? He laughed. He goes, no. I said, so the media just kind of made that up? He's like, yeah, pretty much. And he's like, why would I leave? He said, I was the issue. I was the problem. I needed to get better. Why would I bring that somewhere else? And I said, okay, well, I knew that and you knew that, but I'm happy now we could tell people that. And so, I mean, Benny, for a young kid, he's already been through stuff. People speak it for him. And I feel for the kid. I hope he's okay. Because as you know, Otis, I mean, you guys are beyond sports for me. I mean, yeah, I'm happy guys score this and win this game and ladies did this and won that championship or whatever. But at the end of the day, I want to know you're okay, your family's okay, everybody's doing all right. And whatever's going on with Benny, I hope he's all right. I hope he knows that he has my support, your support. You talk about taking a personal day and taking a step aside, and I feel for that. Let's shift gears because I have to address this in the NBA. Because what Benny, what's going on with Benny, obviously we pray and we hope and everything's okay. In the NBA, guys aren't necessarily taking a personal day for family, for friends. There's this thing in the NBA now where the coach it's strategic. And it started with the Tim Duncan era and all that. We're going to sit guys. We're going to give them a break. We're going to do this. There's a difference between Benny being out of this game and guys sitting. I can't stand it. Otis, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Reggie Miller, Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Joe Dumars. I'm not looking at a sheet of paper. I'm just rattling this stuff off from my brain. Clyde Drexler, Akeem Olajuwon, and on. Karl Malone, John Stockton, and on and on and on and on. Those dudes didn't sit. They knew somebody could snatch their job. They didn't sit. They played. And now today's NBA, I don't know. I feel like it's soft, right? It's like, oh, well, Bob's not going to play on Monday and Tuesday. He might play on Thursday if he feels like he wants. I mean, guys showing up to the games in suits, making $20 million a year, deciding they're not going to play that day. Let's address the elephant in the room of NBA players now, like LeBron. There's 82 games, and maybe LeBron plays 57 of them. Totally healthy, totally fine. Nothing's wrong with the family. Nobody's doing anything. There's no crisis. He's just playing 57 games to preserve his body and to take it. I mean, imagine if I, as a broadcaster, was like, hey, I should do my show Monday through Friday because that's my promise to you, but I'm going to do out of the 52 weeks in the year, I'm going to do about 37 of them, but I'm going to charge my clients for 52. I don't get it, Otis. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand emergencies. I'm not talking about that. Family stuff, health. We're not making fun of that. That takes precedence. And I've had plenty of bosses that don't understand taking care of your health and your family, which is ridiculous. I'm talking about this soft, kind of ridiculous NBA now where it's Steph Curry's not going to play the next 13 games because he just needs to get himself ready for the 14th. I can't do it anymore, Otis, so I got to get your thoughts on it.
It's funny. When I first retired from Europe, playing ball in Europe, I used to get on those guys. I used to be like, I can't believe they're sitting there. How is Tip doing this? And why is he sitting there? And then the next year we played we played a Euro Cup, Supporter Cup, and then there was our own, Belgian Cup. So I was playing 3 games a week in Europe. And my body broke down so bad at the end of the season. My take on it is what these coaches are doing is they're starting to notice that these guys are getting burnt out. There's a lot of games, and I get it. Gary Payton and all those guys did it. They were a different breed. Let's just stop comparing eras, because that era of basketball was football, basketball, and a whole lot of other things.
Yeah, but what happened? What happened, Otis? Why are people soft now? Why is society so soft? That's my issue.
Because the league, I really believe the league made it soft. What the league did was, okay, we need more points. So the league decided, okay, we're not going to let them hand check.
Ridiculous.
So now, because now all of a sudden Michael Jordan was getting 30, 40 points with hand checking, now we're not going to hand check James Harden and the rest of these guys. So I feel the league has got a lot of responsibility too, because now you don't want defense. You want guys to score. So now these guys are running up and down. You got guys who only play defense. They're not really getting the ball. They're just running up and down. So guys now are like, well, if I got to play these many games and then I got to play the playoffs, I'm going to rest my body for the playoffs. Whereas back in the day, it was, we're going to play all season long and we're going to play the playoffs. I think it's just a different era of basketball. And to some people, the game has gotten better. The game has gotten worse. To me, Steph Curry was the worst thing that ever happened to basketball.
Okay.
And I'll say that, not in the NBA sense and not in the college sense, but I watched a high school kid who's never played basketball in Kentucky. Never played basketball.
Yeah.
He was shooting half-court shots and didn't even hit the rim, but said and turned to me and went, yeah, I got to come back and take 40 more tomorrow. And I just looked at him and I just shook my head and I walked out the gym.
Yeah.
And I was like, this new era, Dan, is just, it's so different from what I'm used to. So I kind of like some of the things they're doing, but like you said, this sitting out games, I don't understand it.
This is my thing, okay? I think the NBA should be brought to you by Charmin. I really do. The NBA, like that soft toilet paper for your booty should be brought. I mean, and remember, Kobe Bryant, may he rest in peace, he called the Los Angeles Lakers at one point soft like Charmin. So, you know, and when I thought about the Charmin thing, it was before I even looked that up. And then I was like, oh, man, Kobe said this too. But it is, man. It's like, I think the NBA's main title partner should be Charmin. And I think that there should be giant toilet paper runs during the game. I think you should have to put yourself in a roll of toilet paper, and they should have a fan event of them running back and forth. Because the reality to me, or maybe LeBron James and Steph Curry can wrap themselves in toilet paper and play each other. Because in my opinion, I just can't deal with it anymore. And I've always gone to the analogy of, let's say a kid has never been to a game. Okay? Let's say Otis, in the multiverse, I have a child in another universe where there's a me. Because in this universe, I don't think that's ever going to happen, because the world is crazy out there. So, you know, let's say in another universe, I have a kid, I have a son, he wants to go to a game. So I bring my kid, so I say, okay, we're going to go to the game. Now, the flight to the game is going to cost me round trip $800. So I got $800 round trip. I got a hotel for us. It's a couple $100 a night. So let's say it's $300. So now I got $1,100 in the game. We got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next 3 days. So I got to put all that together, say that's 20, say, okay, 20, 20, and 40. They'll put that all together, say like $80, $100 a day. So $100 a day for the 3 meals. It's that's another $300. So now I'm up to $1,400. I buy him a jersey. It's $200. So now I'm up to $1,600. I get a hat when I'm up there. So now, you know, I get a hat. We get some food at the game. So now we're up to $1,800. And we find out right as we're sitting down, nachos and hot dog in hand, soda's on the floor, looking at my son, so happy I brought you here. Dad, I'm so happy to be here. I find out his favorite player isn't playing because he's sitting out, totally healthy. He's just taking a day off. Right. And I just spent $1,800.
Absolutely.
That's how I feel.
And it's crazy because as you're talking about this, I can remember when Tim, like you said, those Spurs team, I never forget when Tim sat a game. It was a big article about it. And I felt like that was wrong. I felt like the NBA should have compensated that family for the money that they used to see a star and didn't get to see him. It's ridiculous. You look at how LeBron got fouled the other day. How many guys in the NBA get fouled like that in the 90s?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand LeBron's frustration, but to act how he acted, I was like, what is going on?
Because it's soft. It's Charmin soft, and it's by the way, with LeBron, come on, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, did he take 3 steps when he tried to take that last shot too? I mean, you go back and you look at, first and foremost, LeBron James, and I'm going to look at Shaq for this too. When you get fouled and you're LeBron and you go flying, that's embarrassing. When you're Shaquille O'Neal and you flop at 300 pounds, 7 feet, and, Muggsy Bogues tapped you on the chest and you went flying halfway across the room, I can't deal with flops, Otis. I don't think flops should be charged with a foul. I think if you flop 5 times a season, you get ejected for the rest of the year. I think if you do 5 flops a year, you can't play the rest of the season. So if you're 10 games into the NBA and you have 5 flops that are blatantly flopped, you can't play the other 72. I don't think you should be able to play the game of basketball if you're going to come out there, because not only is the game Charmin soft, but you got guys flying across the room like Superman when somebody comes up and flicks their chest. I can't deal with that, okay? I took charges as a kid. There was one guy kept going down the lane. I was trying out for a basketball team. RJ kept going. Well, how are we going to stop him? Well, I'm looking at everybody standing under the basket, and I was like, well, I guess I'll stand in front of him. Nobody else is. I took a charge, went up in the air, came down on my tailbone, hurt the heck out of my tailbone, was laying there. Coach was like, oh, look at what Danny did. That's great. And they're all like cheering me on, and they went to help me up, and I go, no, just leave me on the floor. I'm going to need a minute. And so I took an actual bruise my tailbone charge where, LeBron James is like, hey, this 4'5" guy came up and tapped my ankle, and I think I broke it. So, can we talk about that, Otis? You guys played football. You talked about it, Georgetown, Syracuse for football games. Not only can I not deal with the softness overall of the sport of basketball as it's become, but I really can't deal with the flopping and just the blatantly embarrassing. So I'm going to put it to you like this. If you're dating a girl and you flop on camera and it's really egregious, she should break up with you that day. Because you're soft. You are soft, okay? Like, if I'm trying to date, if I'm sitting with a girl and I'm like, dude, why are you with this fool over here? Look at this man falling all over the place, losing his mind. You know what I mean?
See, flopping for me, I hated it. I really like LeBron is probably, I have 5 players that I love in the NBA, and LeBron is definitely one. And when that whole flop thing he started doing came out, it reminded me of my first couple of years in Europe. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't stand it because because I got to dribble more in Europe. I got to play more of my game than I did in high school more in Europe. I kind of converted back to a scoring 4 when I went to Europe and got to handle the ball a lot more. So guys were trying to take charges on me all the time. And I mean, some of the flops, I would literally laugh like in hysterics, and it would make the referees so upset. But here's my thing. We're all men out here. I'm 6'8", 275, 280, whatever. This dude's 6'4", 210, 220. And you're telling me you got a flop? You can't stand up and play defense?
Yeah.
It really disgusted me for a while. And Shaq, I can understand Shaq because he took a lot. Shaq took a lot of beatings. Let me tell you, from college to the pros, he dished out a lot, but I used to watch teams just smack him, and I mean slap him, and they wouldn't call anything. But back to the flopping with yeah, you're right. I really, it's just, you should be suspended. It's terrible. It's awful for the game. It really is. It's awful for the game. It's awful that the person's doing it, and it's awful that they allowed it to happen. The NBA has a lot of power. They could have politely went to LeBron like, hey, LeBron, listen, we're going to get the refs to do a little bit better, but I can't have you flopping. The next time you flop, it's going to be a serious fine.
Yeah.
And get rid of it, because to me, flopping has no place in the game. It just doesn't. It just has no place in the game at all.
No, and I feel like you know what? Other countries that are like looking at America right now, like, you know, that's what I think. I think, you know, people are like, you know, Putin's a problem. Well, Putin saw us flopping. You know, that's what I think it was. Putin was watching some NBA games going like, oh, they soft now. You know, so like, you know, I just, you know, to me, it's like you can't represent yourself, your family, America, flopping out there, you know, and it's just, I don't know, to me it's ridiculous. Like, if I was out there playing the game right now and somebody flopped, I would be like, what are you doing? I just walk over the dude. I'd be like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And it's just, now listen, big men don't always get the fouls called, and I get that, and Jesse and I have talked about that, Jesse Edwards and I, but on the other side of it, like, you can't, I mean, and the thing about the acting is it's so bad, because you'll see, like, somebody get called for something, and the guy, like, literally barely, like, taps him on the chest, and the guy goes flying 2 feet backward, and they show the slow motion replay. See, this is the juxtaposition of my childhood. Slow motion replay as a kid, Gary Payton. You go right, you think you got him, he swipes the ball, slow motion, he grabs the ball and goes down the court with it, sends it off to Sean Kemp, bum, 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 and you see that, right? Now the slow motion as an adult for me is like, look at LeBron go 37 feet in the air. Like, I mean, it's like different replays to me. It's like highlights of flopping. Like, when I was a kid, there was highlights of like, oh my God, I can't believe that wasn't a foul. I can't believe that guy got the shot off. Now it's like whoever can fly backwards. And I can't. There is no place in it for me at all, Otis. And so, I mean, the taking the days off, the flopping, the no defense, 1-on-5. It's the reason why a lot of people don't watch the NBA. And it's like, it's sad, because my dad hasn't watched the NBA outside of like a game or two. He hasn't watched the game in over a decade, because he thinks like the last good games were at the end of the 90s.
The man knows what he knows. I can't really argue with your dad. You know, I like I said, the game has evolved, but a lot of things just aren't basketball to me anymore. You know, a guy goes up for a layup now, and I mean, guys are wide open. Yeah. Like, I can remember watching, let's go to somebody you know, Xavier McDaniels.
Okay.
I remember Michael Jordan, and were they playing the Knicks? Yeah, they had to be playing the Knicks. And Michael Jordan literally went up to take a layup and got knocked into the bleachers. Now, he had 40 that night, but he had to earn that 40.
Yeah.
And flopping, what was it? It didn't exist when I played. And if it did, you got called out for it.
I feel like you got met in the parking lot for that.
Right. Like, listen, like Adrian Autry was my point guard my freshman year, my redshirt freshman year. Lazarus Sim was my point guard during those years. If I would have ever even thought about flopping, I would have never saw the ball.
Yeah.
You gonna flop on this team? Oh no, we're not having that. You gonna touch the ball. And that's clearly what it would have been. It's a man's game. Why are we sitting there flopping? But it is what it is, Dan. And The game is taking a turn in certain directions, and they're not all good ones.
No, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I can see Adrian saying that. The way you said it is the exact way I could picture Adrian saying, "You gonna flop on this team? Oh, you ain't playing no more." Like I could see that for sure. Well, we do something on the show every Tuesday called the Ingredients to Success, proudly presented by Avicolli's. Syracuse moving forward. Otis, I want you to give me the ingredients to success for Syracuse. In your opinion, what do they need to do that they're not doing right now or not doing consistently that you think is going to change the game for the better for them?
One thing I'd like to see the team do is collectively be together. Like, I've noticed teams in the past, we had that love for each other. Even though we might not have been great friends off the court, but on that court, we were all together. And I need a couple of guys to step up. It could be somebody on the bench. It could be anyone. Somebody has to step up, and I need the team to be more aggressive. Go out there and play with an attitude. Play with a chip on your shoulder. You got one chance to play college basketball, and you will never forget it, and you're going to hate yourself if you don't give it 110%. I just want to see those boys go out there like some dogs and just win the games. That's all I want. Some aggression. Give me a little bit.
That coming from Otis Hill. Give me a dog. Give me some bite. Give me some aggression. Give me some family. Give me some togetherness. Said very well, very eloquently, very succinctly by who I consider one of the greatest legends of Syracuse, Otis Hill. Because as a child, when I grew up, Cuse in the House, oh my God, is the only, that's all I knew. The sign is in my studio. It's here with me right now. Cuse in the House, oh my God. It's the first thing I think I hung on the wall in college. And I think I told you what the girl said. There was a girl I was trying to date, and her friend came to my room, and I think her friend was feeling me a little bit, and I wasn't feeling her at all, and I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. But I was hanging out with her, But Otis, I'm gonna tell you this right now. She looked at the sign, and she said, "What does Cuse mean?"
No.
And I looked at that girl, and I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Cuse is in the house. Oh my God." And like a question. I was like, "Is there a question mark on there?" There's no question mark on there. I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, I said, "Where am I from?" She goes, "I don't get it." I said, "Wait a minute. Where am I from?" She said, "Syracuse." I said, "Okay, Syracuse. Syracuse. What's that? What's that name up there?" She goes, "I don't get it." I looked right at her. I go, "Get out of my room. Get out of my room." And this is the thing. We were not friends after that, and I don't mean this with no disrespect. I'm not 100% sure that I remember her name after that day. Because Cuse, she's like, "What does Cuse mean?" She's like, "Dan kept talking about this Cuse thing." I was like, "Woman, you know where I go to, like, Syracuse." She's like, "Yeah, but it doesn't say Cuse. It says Cuse." I was like, "I can't. Get out. Just leave my room. Get away from me. Tell your friend I still want to date her, but I can't hang out with her friends no more." So, yeah, that's what that girl said to me. I will never forget that for the rest of my life.
Man, that's awful.
Cuse is in the house.
Yeah, I would have been upset too. I'd have been like, "What?"
Yeah. Man, that's what, that girl done. She flopped the statement is what she did. She flopped on the statement. So it's crazy, man. So Otis Hill, we talked about a lot. We talked about relationships, Jim Boeheim, flopping, personal days, people that can't read. We talked about a lot of stuff today on the show. And, man, I don't know. Maybe I should have gotten her phonics for that,
Right.
I heard Otis get really silent. He's like, "Dan just talked about people that can't read. I'm not going to touch it." But you think about it, like, what is wrong with society that this sign didn't make sense? And the thing is, I was in Scranton. I was 2 hours away. I was in Jerry McNamara country. I wasn't in, like, Nova Scotia. I was a couple hours away. People know Syracuse. There's Syracuse stuff in the windows. There's all that stuff going on. So, listen, I don't understand a lot of things about life, Otis, but I can tell you I'm happy that you and I got to talk as always. I'm happy that we got to laugh. I appreciate your ingredients to success, presented by Avicolli's, to this Syracuse Orange men's basketball team, and I always look forward to the next time we get to talk. You know what the thing is, though? I do want to do this, and we haven't done this yet. I want to spend a day, just you and me. You can be my wingman, because I want you to see how crazy it is out there, because it's terrifying. Like, I know you said sometimes your wife gets angry, but appreciate it, love it, enjoy it, because in my world, Otis, I don't have words for.
I can only imagine.
I don't have words, man. Dating in today's world is like The Walking Dead seems like a walk in the park. It just seems like a different. I'm like, oh, what do you mean? There's zombie people? Yeah, I'll deal with that. That's fine. But like, it's different, man. It's scary out there. So I might be single forever. I never thought I'd be like a George Clooney, but that might be what I'm doing. I might just be Clooneying the rest of my life at this point.
Listen, sometimes you may have to, my friend. You may have to.
So all I know is we're not going to flop, and we're definitely going to show up to our jobs and not take all these dang days off for no apparent reason. So always appreciate talking with you, Otis. Look forward to talking with you soon, and thank you for the laughs. I appreciate those more than anything.
Anytime, Dan. I'll be looking forward to talking to you and feel better, okay?
All right, man. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
See you. That coming from Otis Hill one more time on Wake Up Call. So, man, I can't take the flopping. I can't. It's awful. It's not basketball. You know what I mean? Like, as a kid, if I flopped, I would have gotten kicked off my team. My coach, if I did that in tryouts, it would have been like, get out of here. Go do something else. Go play something else. Don't mess around like this. Flops. I feel like there's coaches out there teaching you how to flop. Oh, if you get real close to them and there's a couple minutes left in the game, we're down by 2. This is what I need you to do. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking that. I'm not taking flops for you. So we're going to take our final step aside. That's what we will take here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We'll wrap things up right after this. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also, I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life, and appreciate you so very much for being a part of the show every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Under promise, over deliver. Today we went almost till noon here on the broadcast, so happy to be here with you. Want to thank Bo Edmundson for joining me to speak on his commitment to UNLV and his road to get to where he is today. A road of adversity, strength, confidence, and belief, and hard work and dedication and determination. I want to thank Jim Boeheim as well as Adrian Autry, Judah Mintz, Justin Taylor, and Symir Torrence for joining me from the current Syracuse basketball team. And, of course, I want to thank Otis Hill, Syracuse Orange alum, for all the laughs and all of the conversation we got to have about the team and life. And I want to thank him for his ingredients to success, proudly presented by Avicolli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, right down the road from Liverpool High School. Giving his ingredients to success was really awesome today, so I appreciate him for that, and I appreciate Avicolli's for their partnership. You can watch and listen to Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Facebook.com, YouTube.com, and MixLR.com, all / Wake Up Call DT on Facebook.com / Live Now DT and on WakeUpCallDT.com. Once the shows go live, you can jump into the archives and hang out with us as well by going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. MixLR, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And of course, thanks to our incredible partners, Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicolli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Mon Paz Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Great Lakes Honda City, as well as Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Chick-fil-A Watertown, 317 at Montgomery, the restaurant whose location is also the name of the restaurant in downtown Syracuse, Pizza Man, and of course we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Dolphins, and of course Dolphin Time comes to you every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time to start off the broadcast with the Dolphins first and third Wednesday of each month, AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, where we dive into the stories of student athletes, coaches, as well as administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can get all of that content by going to the Lemoyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com and by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So make sure you do that today, and we appreciate everybody that has. And for more information on your Dolphins, you can go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. Partner of the Bryan and Stratton Bobcats of Syracuse. Bryan and Stratton comes to you on Wake Up Call unlike anywhere else they've ever been, with stories from the student athletes as well as their coaches and administration, getting to speak with you about the background of who they are, why they are, the teams that they put together, the coaches that they have, and getting to tell stories, really unique stories about exclusive specials, naming of coaches, as well as the inaugural season coming up for the baseball program. So much with Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse can be found on the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt as well. And for more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, I want to thank you for being with me today, for navigating with me as I heal up, and God willing, you will heal, and I will heal too by the grace of God. In Jesus' most precious name, amen. Completely and for good, and no matter what, through God, and handle well whatever comes our way. Facebook, find us there at WakeUpCallDT. Twitter, find us at CallDT. Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. And of course, from the Cafe Kubal Studios, happy to bring you the ingredients to success today, as well as the wonderful guests Bo Edmundson, Jim Boeheim, Adrian Autry, Judah Mintz, Symir Torrence, Justin Taylor, and Otis Hill. I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. And as always, God bless, no stress, do your best.